So I will be talking about mapping Gatsby in space. Cool. So who am I? I'm Colby Fayock. I introduced myself earlier, but again, I'm Colby Fayock, Senior UX Front-End Engineer at Evelyn here. You can find me pretty much anywhere at Colby Fayock. Thank you. So maps, as we know it, do a lot of cool things. The middle here is where I work. That's where we're at right now. This should be pretty familiar to you. You can see recommendations, you can search, you can see some interesting spots to where you can do things in the area. What you can also do is figure out what your drive time is going to be to work. Now, particularly since the metro is shut down, I need to figure out what the bus schedule is. That's a little bit of a pain, but yeah, at least Google Maps is my friendly friend to help me out. Also, I can figure out how the directions and the fastest route to get home back in Pennsylvania. Traffic is never that good. Don't listen to that, but it is what it is. Next, my wife likes to take virtual vacations. Here, the Great Pyramid of Giza, we all know what that is. Looking at the top, it's pretty cool to be able to see it, just simply from a satellite image. But we can also get up right next to it and see the vast scale of it, and just cool being able to do Google Street View around with it. After I kind of mentioned that I was going to be adding her to the presentation, she found another spot called the Valley of Geysers. And it turns out it's super interesting. It's off the pronunciation Kamchatka Peninsula, which happens to be the second largest geyser field in second largest concentration of geysers in a field in the world. But just the ability that we can do this is amazing. Now this next one is another shot of downtown Alexandria. Now this doesn't look super interesting in itself, but what it is OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap is the interesting part about this because it's open source, so mappers all around the world can contribute, can use it, and just do whatever they want with it, and it's become such a big community around it. So where does all this data come from? Scientists, analysts. These particular photos are just kind of like stock level photos I found from university websites like GIS University, but they're collecting data, analyzing data, super hard to work. Next is technology. We all know Google Street View and the Easter eggs that we get out of that, like these gentlemen scuba diving on the street. And you, all of you fine people. There's millions of people who have mapped on OSM in all time. And there's thousands of different active mappers every single day adding and contributing to these. Whether it's just adding points of interest, drawing on the street, drawing the actual streets. I went to Google and just tried to find a couple pictures of groups and meetups, and it was just incredible. If you look at the titles of each of those images, the captions, like these are all communities. These are all people who meet up with a bunch of other people. So it's just the sheer amount of people meeting up and are passionate about this is incredible. One particular thing that's cool about it is the contributions. So in this particular case, somebody was able to find a refugee camp. Now, this is amazing because this can save somebody's life. This is on the border of South Sudan and Ethiopia, but think about the humanitarian aid aspect of it. Somebody can find this, and now when they're in danger, they can potentially save their life. So where did I get space from? As you all remember from the title slide. Little bit of a catchy title, but there's satellites, thousands of them in orbit. Some of them aren't working, many of them are still operational, but they're all collecting images and data generally about our planet and other planets. A good example of this is MODIS Terra. Bear with me for the pronunciation again. Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer. Yeah, awesome. It collects every point on the Earth with its image sensors every 1 to 2 days in 36 discrete spectral bands. It's mostly covering large-scale global dynamics such as cloud coverage, ocean processes, and changes in atmosphere. I tried to do a little bit of searching about just a general landscape, and clearly this isn't the thousands of satellites, but these are some of the big players. Like you can see Landsats out in there. It's just kind of cool to imagine how many of these giant satellites are floating around collecting all this data. It's a vast amount of stuff. This was from 2016, so it's a little out of date, but Planetary Society put this together. Now this is just kind of an example of some of the benefits we get out of that. Now you can think about all the life-saving things, but these are just Instagram feeds. The top left is the ISS, and while this isn't really necessarily a satellite, it's just a cool picture from overhead of the Earth at night. The bottom middle one is from an Instagram daily overview, which this is showing Lake Natron in Tanzania. The right one is from NASA Earth, showing the Andaman Sea, which is on the border of Burma and Thailand, which is just clearly gorgeous. So the whole point of this is it's more than just driving directions, which we all know it is. It's literally saving the world. We have scientists all over the world who are working through climate change, disaster response, farming, public health, just tons of things trying to save people's lives and make people happier and have a better life. This particular slide is Tropical Cyclone Idai. I had to look up that pronunciation. I think I got it right. You can actually see the cyclone moving around on NASA Worldview, which is really cool to see in practice. I don't have it here to show you, but you can find it on NASA Worldview. It's apparently one of the worst tropical cyclones on record that affected Africa and the southern hemisphere. You can also see things like active fires. So this was, as of last November, the active fires all around the world. As you can see on the bottom left, it's a cutout of the wildfires in Northern California, if some of you know of Camp Fire. Just imagine the amount of active fires in the top right corner there, how dense that is. The nice thing though is this gives people the ability to manage teams and resources to try to help other people. So who is mapping? There's a ton of people mapping. NASA, of course, World Health Organization, USGS, yeah, you can see the list here. They're doing so many different areas just trying to help people. And a lot of these, one cool example that I found when I was at State of Map conference last year, there was this lady that was talking about how using OpenStreetMaps allows people to map hospitals, shelters, kind of like I showed before, but general points of interest in remote parts of the world where usually we're used to pulling out our phone and seeing a map. They don't have that. But now with the ability for people to contribute on OSM, they can go there and add the data points and save people's lives. So Gatsby, where does Gatsby fit into that? Tooling is a lot of things, right? Tooling is hard, it takes time. You can put Webpack in front of every single line there if you've ever tried to do that yourself. It's hard. And you can also take the flavor of the week and throw it at the end of it and say it's the solution, because every week there is a new solution to it. But all of it is consistently changing, and further, figuring out how to do all this stuff with maps is just exponentially makes it harder. The point is, focus on the important bits, which is what Gatsby allows us to do. We can build map, not scaffold the front end. You can immediately start working on building the map, and at the end of the day, tooling isn't productive if it gets in your way. So one thing I created to help this is Gatsby Starter Leaflet. It allows you to immediately bootstrap an app that has a map. Right now, not a ton of functionality, but you can go on it, you can click around, just like you're on Google Maps, without some of the bells and whistles, of course. But I plan on building some more stuff into it to really get people able to immediately jumpstart building maps to help other people. This is just an example. You can search. This is one of the tools that we built based off of the starter. You can search for something in Brazil and find the map location. You can go to the Himalayas and trace the mountain range, which to me kind of looks a little bit like a weird smiley face. Does anyone else see it up there? But just the amount of things that you can do with this is incredible, and it just gets me excited if you haven't been able to tell. But I want to ask, what do you all do with maps? Does anybody have any really cool things that I might not have set up here? And generally, does anybody have any questions?
That is super cool. So a coworker and I were working on some heat mapping and we were looking at Leaflet. So that's awesome that you made that starter. But question is for like, if you have like a ton of data points, do you use like the way Gatsby's data layer works to prefetch a lot, like to get all those before build, or do you still do it client side?
So we're currently doing the client side. Gatsby has a lot of awesome things for compiling and delivering a lot of those things static. But there's also a lot of benefits to reaching out right to the API. So most of the map work we're doing right now is reaching out to the APIs and dynamically doing it. And plus, I don't know that Leaflet really supports static rendering right now, and Leaflet itself is a little wonky, but it works and it's great.
That's awesome.
Anyone else? Jason?
I want to throw out a shout out for Kepler because I've been really happy with. If you just want to throw a bunch of points in a map, I know that's not in Gatsby, but it's a tool that I discovered recently that I really like. It's from Uber, so it's called Kepler.gl.
Isn't Kepler also like a satellite or something?
It's an exoplanet searching satellite.
Oh,
Points out, not in.
I'm guessing a different thing.
Not the same. I don't think.
Any other cool uses of maps?
Avoid speeding tickets.
Waze does provide a lot of ways to get out of trouble. But aside from that, here's some resources. Of course, you're probably not going to write down any of these links, but you can Google pretty easily any of these things, and you'll find your what you're looking for. Cool. Thank you, everybody.